Hello and welcome to Stories with Nidhi Brews, yet another episode. And today I'm going to be tackling a special topic today. It's pretty off the bat, but it is very, very relevant today and every day. In fact, it's the most relevant topic when it comes to relationships, when it comes to business building, when it comes to really creating connections. And the topic is listening well. I'm not going to be talking about, fancy words like active listening or persuasive listening or whatever it is that is the buzzword these days. I'm talking about plain and simple listening. Okay, so over the last couple of days, I'm sorry this camera is going to be shaking a little bit because I'm holding it in my hand, but here we are. Yeah, like I was saying, in the last couple of days, I have been attending a couple of networking events, face-to-face networking events, because now with COVID seems to be like under control. So face-to-face networking events are back, and this is something that I really needed to do with my business because I do want some more local clients. I want to meet people face-to-face, especially because I am an introvert. And what an introvert means is that I find networking or doing face-to-face things actually very tiring. And that is the actual definition of introversion, if you know it. People who get their energy from being with themselves and whose energy gets lessened or they get tired when they're out with others are introverts. That's the only definition or difference between introverts and extroverts in the actual sense of the word. Introverts are not necessarily shy people. Introverts it's not like introverts don't like to talk. They like to talk, but it's just that the energy gets consumed very fast when they are in the company of others, and they need to take some time out to recuperate from that. That's it. So anyway, so I'm an introvert. Networking is a big deal for me because it takes up so much of my energy, and I need to account for extra time to actually recover from the networking. Having said that, I've always found networking very, very useful for me. Even in my previous business back in Bombay, I used to attend networking events as uncomfortable as it made me feel, but that was the only way that I grew my business. So coming back to the topic of today, which is basically listening, I'm going to be moving this camera around a little bit because I really want a good angle and not for the camera not to shake. But okay, it's very impromptu, but it's an important topic because it's very fresh in my mind. Listening. So when you go for networking events as business people, or even if you're networking for any other reason, but most of us do networking as networking because we want to grow our businesses, right? So we go to networking events with the intention of getting our business known, talking about our business, and creating connections and finding potential clients, right? That's the basic intention behind attending a networking event for all of us. Okay, so we go there. In our heads, we are ready to launch a sales pitch or an elevator pitch. We have our 1 minute script ready and we are ready to perform. However, think about it, at a networking event, there are anywhere between like 10, 20, 30 plus people who are all there with the same intention, which is basically to sell their own businesses. So all of us are there with the intention to sell. So what happens? Of course, there are people who will listen to another person and say, oh, that's a service that I really like, so I'd like to buy into it, or I know somebody else who needs a service. And that's how networking works, right? We get referrals, we get clients through the people we meet. But if all of us were to just keep talking about what we had to sell and did not listen to what the other person had to say, then none of us would be making sales. It's an extreme scenario. It doesn't happen. Most of us are good people. We understand how this works, so we do pay attention. However, I have noticed, oh my god, this camera is like completely moving a lot. I don't know if this is going to be a good look for YouTube, but apologies. I think what I'm saying is important, so please bear with me. So coming back to the topic again, listening. When you go to a networking event, how much intention do you put into listening what the other person has to say? Not just listening because you know it's a polite thing to do, uh, or because you will have conversation points, or because you want to get their number, and yes, of course, you want to help them, but very, very surface level listening is what most of us do, and it's not wrong. We all do it. It's the truth. But when you're listening to somebody out there who's trying to talk to you about what they do, what they love, what they sell, what excites them in the morning to wake up and sell the thing that they do sell, you look at the person, right? You look into the eyes of the person. You really tune into the energy of what they're saying, how they feel about what they're talking about. That is so much more powerful. Because sometimes you meet people, you may not actually end up buying from them. You may not actually end up, dealing with them on a professional level, but something about that person can actually teach you something. And that is such a powerful experience, especially in entrepreneurship, especially in networking events. That is huge amount of learning, because everyone has been on their own solo journey. Everyone is in different paths, different places in their journey. And just by listening to somebody speak for a couple of minutes and paying attention to what they are saying, how they're talking, that energy itself can be so amazing. Also, even if it is a business networking event, we are all humans. We all like to be heard. So if somebody is talking to you and you listen to them with not just your ears, but your mind and your heart open, you actually validate that person. You actually make that person feel heard. And you may think that this is such a wishy-washy thing to say, but just think about it. You're establishing a connection with the person at a much deeper level. Now, this person may or may not be your prospective client. This person may or may not give you business. But once they establish a connection with you, once they feel that, oh, this is a nice person, because if somebody feels heard, they also pay attention to you. They're like, I felt good talking to this person because they were listening to what I said. So once that happens, you never know what can come out of it. And not every interaction has to lead to a transaction, right? So if you can just have one more connection in the world, you may or may not get something out of it, but that's wonderful, isn't it? Right? So this person may just become and end up becoming a supporter of you. They may not buy from you for years, but they may recommend somebody to you. You never know where that's going to lead. So just focusing on listening is such a big deal. That's such a big part of networking that many people sometimes miss. And I'll tell you why. I actually what triggered this video, and this is funny. So I went to kind of a speed networking event a couple of days ago. I'm not going to be taking any names or mentioning any people. It was a lovely event. It was really good. I met fantastic people. Each and every person that I met at that event was fantastic. Everyone had such different stories, so many colors. Their journeys were different. It was really, really nice. Each and every person. Okay, so I'm going to mention an incident, but that is not a judgment of the person I'm talking about, but it's just an observation. Okay, so in this speed networking event, all of us were given 2 minutes to talk. So within these 2 minutes, we were supposed to talk 1 minute about ourselves and our journey with no mention of work, and the next minute was just supposed to be about what we do and who we serve. So as I was doing the rounds and I reached a table where there was somebody, it was my turn and I started talking. The first minute, of course, I spoke about myself and my journey. And I already got the sense that this person was like not really listening, because you get the vibe, right? So they were there, physically they were there, their eyes were on me, they were bent forward. So all the physical, the body language was there of listening, but they were not listening. But that was okay. I just kept on talking because I knew I had just 2 minutes to finish, right? At the 1 minute 30 second point, this person jumped in. They interrupted me with a piece of advice that they thought would be useful for me. I had 2 minutes to talk, and this person jumped in and gave me a piece of advice. And they took 30 seconds of my time, which made me upset. Okay, now I absolutely do not doubt the intentions of this person. They were not there to disrespect me. They thought that this advice was useful for me. But the thing is, I had 2 minutes to talk, and they jumped in and they took away 30 seconds of my time. And even the advice that they gave me did not make sense. Because honestly, they were not listening to what I was talking about. Even in the 1.5 minutes that I spoke, if they had heard what I had to say, they would have realized that the advice they gave, it was not really for me. Anyway, so I felt a little bit, then it was their turn to talk about themselves, and I heard them out. I actually liked the business that they were in. I really liked it. I would have actually given them business if I had felt like they were the people, or they were the person who I would have loved to work with. So here is the thing. It's a really sad thing, and I'm not saying it again. Like I said, it's not meant to be a judgment on anybody. It's something that probably I also do, unknowingly, unthinkingly. But what happened in that 30 seconds was that this person actually lost business. The idea of coming to a networking event is to get business, and if you've lost business in 30 seconds of not even not listening, of just shutting your mouth and allowing the other person to speak. I know, again, I'm not being judgmental about this person. This is something that we all do. We all do. I mean, we may like to admit it or not, but we all do it. Which is why it is so important to pay attention. When somebody is talking, shut the thoughts in your mouth, in your head. Shut your mouth and listen. It's not that difficult. Make that person feel like you are there. Be present for them. It doesn't take much effort. You don't have to do it for too long. You will get your turn to talk. Right? So these were a couple of things that I feel that are so important in our daily lives, especially as parents. We are so used to constantly giving directions to our children. Sometimes they're telling us things and we're not listening. I completely am guilty of this. Sometimes I'm not listening to my kids. I'm hearing them, yes. I'm responding to them, yes. But am I listening? No. Same with running a business. Sometimes we're just selling the things that we think that people need, but are we listening to them? Who knows? Something that someone says may trigger a new business idea, a new way to sell, make a new sale for you. Right? So we are losing so many opportunities just because we can't keep our mouth shut. That is shocking, sad. And such a simple tweak to make, right? Just a simple tweak to make, and it's so energy efficient, right? You don't have to talk to sell. Sometimes you just have to listen to sell. Isn't that amazing? Why don't we use that tool more? Right, so that was what I wanted to talk about when it came to listening. I hope you found this useful, because I want to implement it in my own life. I want to become more aware of how well I am listening when I am in a conversation, because I think the best conversations are had when people are listening well. Good conversationalists are not ones who know how to string together a beautiful sentence of words and make people sit in their thrall. That's called performance. Good conversationalists are those who listen to other people and who make them feel heard and who make that moment valuable. Yeah? Right, I am going to end this video now. I need to go to work. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you're having a lovely day. Take care of yourself. And if you like this video, please share with your friends, subscribe to this channel, and drop a comment below. I'd really appreciate that. Take care. God bless you. Bye bye.